Please ask Neeraj to join again. He was removed. One of you, please ask Neeraj to join again. Yeah. So in the last lecture, we saw how to create a class and how for especially we saw the account class, and we saw how the different sections of the class are defined. So what are the different sections of any class that we have?
Data members,
The data members and
member functions,
Function members.
the member functions. Okay, where are the data members placed? There are two
Private.
access specifiers, right? Where are the data members placed?
Private.
Data members are private and member functions are public. Okay, what else did we see?
Inline function.
Very good. So the member functions can be of two types, inline and non-inline. Okay, what do you understand by inline function?
They
What
are
do you
inside
understand?
the class.
Very
It's
good. So you
defined
place it,
inside the.
yes. So you place it
instantiation is done
inside,
with definition.
yes. So this is, let me switch back to this. So in this particular class that we have defined, account, which is the inline function?
Set initial,
Set initial is a inline function because it is defined within the class, right? It is expanded in the function where it is called. There's no jump which takes place. That is the meaning of inline. So the code becomes longer and longer if there are a series of inline functions. Okay. So if the function is not inline, which is usually the case, how do you define that function? If the function is not inline.
And first we will call the account data type and then scope resolution and then function.
By using scope resolution operator.
By using the scope resolution operator. So for defining inline functions, we make use of the scope resolution operator. Okay. Double colon. Okay. And we, after defining the class, so these are the basic, this is the basics of defining a class in C++. What do? We create an object of the class, right? So what is an object?
An entity of the type class.
An entity of the type class. Okay. So for defining any object of a class, what is the syntax of C++? So suppose my class is account. So how do I create an object of account?
Account and
account A1,
Account
A2,
A1.
how many other
Count
objects?
A1.
Very good. And suppose you want to initialize the objects of the class. How do you do it? So A1 and A2 are empty objects, right? How do you do the initialization?
A1 dot
A1
the function
Dot operator.
dot operator.
A1 dot. You use the object name dot operator followed by a setter method. Some setter method has to be there. Okay. Setter function has to be there. Once you do initialization, you can call any other member functions for performing any kind of an operation. What is the other name for the setter function? What is the other name for setter function?
Mutators.
Very good. Mutator. Why mutator?
Because they keep changing.
Because you are
can set.
changing, you are
We can do the setting.
able to set the value of the data members. Very good. You are able to change the value of the data member. Okay. And what is the other way how to get the values? If I want to get the values of these data members, can I get them
Sir,
directly? Can I write a1 dot name? Can I write a1 dot name directly outside the class?
No, ma'am.
Why?
Because it is
No,
private.
private.
Why?
Private.
Because it is private. Okay. If I define, okay, if I had no section called private in my class, so if I had something like this, I mean, all this was inside public. So if I had placed everything inside public, then I could write it. But since it is private, I cannot write that. Okay. So if I want to write it, if I want to still access it, I need to use what?
Set data function.
If I still want to access it outside, how do I access it?
Ma'am, पहले
The data I want to see,
Getter,
na?
getter
The
function.
getter, the getter function. What is the other name for the getter function?
Accessors.
Access.
Accessors. Very good.
मैम
Yes.
मैम सेट डेटा फंक्शन अगर डिफाइन किया
Hmm.
वो भी पब्लिक में और बाद में गेट डेटा से उसको प्रिंट करा दिया तो वो भी चलेगा ना मैम?
सेटर के अंदर गेटर बोल रहे हो, कॉल कर रहे हो.
हाँ मैम.
Yes. You can call that function from anywhere, na?
Yes, ma'am.
Function can be called from anywhere because function is public, na?
Yes, ma'am.
Now we will see the
Ma'am,
same example. Yes.
is another name for setter also constructor by any chance?
No. I will come to the constructor concept today's lecture only. Let me first complete this example. Okay. Then I will talk about constructors. Okay. So this example was incomplete in the sense that I told you I will be discussing how to create the array of objects, right? So how do I create an array of objects? So I have these two objects, but if I want to take an array of objects, so how will I create it?
Class name, array name followed by size.
Okay, so I can have an array A or I can have an array ACC or accounts, whatever I want to name it, and I give the size. The same way that I create a normal array, I will create an array of objects. Now, if I want to initialize the objects, these objects in the array, what do I need to do? So account. So this is
Loop.
an array. So what is happening in memory actually? The moment I say account ACC of 10, what is happening?
10 memory locations are reserved for 10 for
Yes. So 10
objects.
consecutive memory location for 10 objects now. Array of 10 objects, right? So ACC of 0, this is account array of 0 will have all those data members which are there. Okay, of 1 will have all the data members which are there and so on up till 9. Now, if I want to initialize each of these objects, right? I have to initialize ACC of 0. I need to initialize ACC of 1 and so on. How will I initialize? What do you think I should do?
Loop.
Okay, I will use a loop. That is fine. So let me say I'll instead of running it for 10 times, let me take n, set n value as 2 or 3, or let me take it from the user and then run a loop n times. Okay, so you can use any loop. For is just natural with arrays. I is less than n I plus plus. And inside this, what will I write? I will what will I call? Which function will I call out of these? I will call which function? The set initial function, right?
Setter.
Yeah, the setter function. So I say set initial. But set initial is a function of the account class, right? So what do I need to, how do I call it? Can I call it directly? How will I call it? It's a function of a class, right?
Account dot.
Object name dot
Object name dot. So now which object name?
A of I.
A of I
App
dot.
of I.
Account of I. ACC of I dot. Correct? Set initial. So whatever code I have written here, right, in this case 1, that was for initialization of a single object. So what I will do is this code only I will pick it up from here up till this point. Okay. And then what will I do? N should not replicate. Okay. Or I'll give this some other word later. Otherwise, there will be conflicts. I'll call this M. M is not there anywhere, right? So same code I will write, and here this I will just replace with A1. Instead of A1, I'm going to write ACC of I dot set initial, and I will pass these parameters which were there, whatever was there, right? So this is going to create my array of M accounts, right? And this is how I have initialized the array. Now, once I do this, I can call any of the other methods, right? I can perform, now these accounts are there with all the initial values, the balance, the name of the account holder, account number, type, and so on, right? All these values are there for each of these accounts. So now for each of these accounts, you can call the method for withdrawing, or you want to perform some operations on each of these accounts like withdrawal or deposit, any kind of operation you can perform which is valid. Okay. And if I want to perform any operation by account number, I need to write that kind of a function there, right? So suppose I want to perform withdrawal for only account number XYZ, then only for XYZ it will happen. It will not happen for all the accounts, right? It will happen for that account only. Withdrawal will be on an account. So once you take all this data, then you can write here. Then you will have a switch case. Okay. How will this program be modified? This switch case will be there. This case 1 will not be there. You will simply perform the operations. Case 2, case 3, case 4. Okay. This will not be there because that you're already doing. So how will this program be modified? I'll remove this. In case 1, you will have deposit, right? Case 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. But here I have written A1 dot account, right? So what else do I need to write to tweak this program so that it works for any account that I'm mentioning? Now I have the set of accounts. See, what I have done is I have initialized my accounts here earlier. I've initialized, right? I've taken all the details. I have my set of objects. I have my account objects with me. Now on these objects, any of these objects, I can perform the operations withdraw, deposit, display. Correct? Yes or no? Are you with me?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So what will you do now? You will ask the user to enter something which will identify the account, right? Okay, you tell me you want to perform the operation for which account? Whenever you go to an ATM, what do? You insert your card, debit card, right? And it is reading. There's a reader which will read your details. Yes or no? So that account number is identified. The card number is identified. Account number is identified. All that is read now from the card. So here also what you have to do is you instead of you have to read that the account number you have to read from the user. So you will tell enter the account number. So you will say Here, you will prompt the user. Account number. Correct? From the menu, probably I'll just remove this. You have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So enter your account. So you will read this account number. So you will say account number is a string, right? Yeah. So I will write that get line. Now what you will do? Once you read this account number, you will perform some operation. What is that operation?
Compare.
Yeah, so it's a search operation actually, right? You need to do a comparison, you are correct. But you need to search, right? Yes or no? So how will you perform the search? There'll be a loop, right? Which is going to compare the account number which is entered here by one from the list of accounts that I have.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what I will do is let me create that as a function here of the account. Let me call it void search. Actually, this is not the exact ideal way of writing the search function. Search is search account. Okay. It is not the correct way of writing it, but just for, since we do not have all the concepts right now, we will write this kind of a function. Okay. So in this, what will be the arguments of this function?
The list and the account to be searched.
The list, right? So the list, so account, the list of accounts. So it will have an argument of which will be an array of accounts, right? So I don't know the size, so there will be one parameter which is n. Okay. What else? Which account you have to search. So I will have, it will have a string account number. Correct? So these will be the parameters. Now I am writing this as it is outside and defining the function. Okay. So I will have to write account these parameters need not have names, right? This is optional, so you can remove this. This will be only this will be only this, and this will be only this. Fine. Now what you will do in this function, you will write your logic for searching. Okay. So how will you search? Write your loop. I is less than n I plus plus. What will you do here?
It will check whether the ith element is equal to the search element.
So tell me the code for that. Someone tell me the code for that.
If ACCI double equals no, ACCI dot name,
Dot name or account number? Account number.
account number, sorry,
Hmm.
equal to A underscore no.
Then what are you going to do?
So then it will print the balance of that account.
Then we set all other parameters according to that ith value.
Can you do a simple thing like you return the index of that? Because why we need
Yes,
to do this is after searching, you are going to work with other things, deposit, withdraw, display, with only that account number. No? You're going to do any kind of operation on only that account number. So you need the index of that. Which object you are looking at, right? That you need to look at. That you need to get. Yes or no? Search operation, whenever you write a search algorithm, what do you return? In an array, when you write, you have done linear search, binary search. What
we
do you return?
return the index.
The index. Okay. So what we will do is we will do a return because we need that return index. So here, where's my search? On top. Yeah. So I will say return I. Now, if I say return I, what should this change to? Return type. This has to be
Int.
okay. And then here I'll write return -1. Correct? What is the meaning of this?
Nothing was found.
Nothing was found. Do I need to write if else or something like that?
No.
No. Why?
Because once it reaches return I, it won't compute the function any further, and
Very good.
if
That is
it
happening
doesn't reach
because of
return
the
I, it will.
return statement. Correct? It is happening because of the return statement. If you had not written a return there on line number 29, then you will have to write that if else, if there's only a single return statement that you have. Okay. So now we have changed this definition, declaration, both things. Okay. Now what we will do is this search is done. Search account is done. Let us call that method. Let us call that function. So how do I call that function? Where am I?
Ma'am, in that loop where you're searching, you can also break from the loop and then return I when you get out of the loop, right?
Yeah, if you do that, what will happen? What you need to do is you need to write an if else outside. That is what I was telling. If you write a break here, ना, यहाँ पे आपने break लिख दिया, तो what will happen? ये नहीं लिखा. I need to do a check, na, whether that I is within that range 0 to n -1. वो if
Okay.
लिखना पड़ेगा ना.
Yes.
Are you getting the logic now? Everyone. If I write a
Yes,
break
ma'am.
there inside and outside there is only one written, I need to write if else. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So now this is fine. So our search account is done. Now search account is done. So what we will do? We will call it. Yeah. So search account.
I think we missed a semicolon at the end of the function
Missed it.
search.
Where?
No, I'm sorry. It was I made a mistake.
Okay. Index equal to search account number. Now, how do I call that method now? I need to call that method. It's a method of this class. So I need to create an object now. So any object using any object of the class A1, A2 or account of I, some account of 0 or 1, 2, I can call that method. Okay. So I can call this as A1 dot. Okay. Or I can call this as A of account of 0 dot.
Ma'am, in that case, it would make more sense to make the search account outside the class, right?
Exactly. So account of 0 dot, account of 0 dot. See, I am right now avoiding that, Shrutiman, I'm avoiding that because I want everything to be object oriented, except for the main function. I am avoiding writing any function which is not object oriented.
Okay, ma'am. Understood.
Okay. So account of 0 dot. No, what was the array that I created? ACC, right?
Yes.
Search account. And then I pass account n and account number, the string. Okay. And then what will I do? Switch, I enter your choice. This has to come here. Right. So now what I will do is enter your choice is there. Switch case 1 is deposit. So deposit will be what now? What will I write instead of A1? What will I write? A of account of
IND.
IND.
IND dot deposit. Right. Similarly, wherever there was A1, I will just replace it. Okay. So enter your choice is there. Enter your account number. So this will go. This is I. Did I redeclare I or something? Okay, fine. So let me run this. N was declared, not declared in this code. It is M. M accounts. M is the variable. M for mango. Fine. So actually, I can make it more user friendly, but I have not made it. So enter your account number. That menu and all you can change. I'm not changing it. You can change that below. You can say what do you want to do. This that menu can come inside the loop. Okay. So I enter your account number. So if I say enter a choice, I say deposit, amount to be deposited. Okay. So now what will happen? Again, you will have to enter your account number, and then I want to say see the amount. Amount is displayed. So it is Tina, and the balance has been updated by 4,000. That is what you see. So suppose I want to continue again, and I say enter your account number. I enter something wrong which is not there. Okay. So okay, the problem is I should write that message here. I have not written the program correctly. There is a slight problem with the program. What is the problem? If that index is -1, I need to write, na? I need to write. Yes or no? This index
Yes, ma'am.
is equal to -1. Then what you will write some message. Okay. See out. Account number not found, right? Some message, error message. Not found. Try again. And then what will I write? I will use one statement here. Which statement will I use?
Can you just go to?
Use continue. Go to is not the correct thing, because go to is unnecessarily creating spaghetti code. So that is why go to was eliminated from the recent standards. So go to is not used a lot. It was not used earlier because of the problems it had. So we use continue. Okay, so continue and break only we use. So continue, if I say, what will happen? Let me close this. Let me run it again. It will skip everything, right? Continue will skip everything. Yes or no? And it will ask the user to enter the account number again. No?
Yes, ma'am.
So if I just say, I have only those keys I'm pressing. Okay. So if I say enter account number, and if it is wrong only in the first case, so again it is prompting me to enter the account number because my account number was not there. Correct. Fine. This is fine. Now you're getting it? Yes or
Yes,
no?
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's it. So this is about, again I made that enter choice is exit. Okay. So this is about the account class. So this is how you write all the methods. And if now, since you're aware of this, you can write any other method, a simple class with different methods for any class that you come across. Okay. Now there are some programs apart from this in the practical list. So on similar lines they are, so where you will be required to create an array of those classes, objects, array of objects. So on similar lines you can create array of objects. Now apart from this, there will be some practice problems which I'll be putting up this week on the classroom. Okay. So before we break for lunch, what we will do is I'll just introduce one more concept which is pertaining to the classes, to a class, and that is the concept of a constructor. Okay, so let me switch back to, yeah. constructors. Okay, so far we have seen that class comprises of data and the functions, the member data and the member functions. Okay, so suppose you are writing any class. So we saw a simple class called circle, right? For the circle class, we simply wrote the setter method to set radius, right? Set radius was the method to, or the function to create a circle. Okay, so when we actually create an object, what happens when I say circle C? When I say circle C, what happens? An object, the moment I write this statement circle C, an object is created. Okay, with this parameter, its name is C and it has one data member only, it is radius. Okay, and this is what is the value here? It is not initialized, it is garbage value. Okay, now what if I mean this is absurd, right? If you compare this with a real world scenario, this is absurd. So for example, you want to buy a car, you're going to buy a car. Okay, so then the car has a color, right? So do you get a car like that only of any random color? This is garbage, right? Garbage means any value, radius can take any value, कुछ भी हो सकता है ना, it is some value which is there. So when I actually buy a car, the car will have a color, or is it that you get a car and then you paint it with some color? Right? Are you getting the idea? The car already has a color. The car is an object, it has a property color. So the car should already have this color, some color. At the time of creation of the object itself, it needs to have that property. It is not that it will have some random property. Okay, so although I can do the same thing by using the setter method, so I can create C and then I say C dot set radius 5. But when I compare this way of setting the radius of this circle C, it is different. It is very different from the real world. It is not mapping the real world, right, scenario of object, because this object oriented programming, it draws its inspiration from the real world objects. Yes or no? So the car should have some color. Okay, so there is one mechanism by which you can actually provide the initial property. You can set the initial property at the time of creation of the object itself, and this mechanism is called a constructor. So you are constructing, the word comes from construction, you're constructing an object, right? You're constructing the car object. Okay, so if it's a class of, say, some favorite class of cars, which cars? Anyone? Which cars do you like? Some class of cars, I don't know, Innova or some other model. Okay, so all Innova cars will have that some properties. Okay, they will have color, or any car will, any generic car also will have a color at the time. It is not that you will get it and then you will paint it. No, you can paint it later on, you can customize it later on, again you can repaint it, but initially it will have some color, right? The same concept applies here. So constructor is nothing but it is a mechanism by which you initialize the object at the time of creation itself. Okay, So now this mechanism actually is provided to you, okay, and this mechanism makes this constructor a function. So constructor actually is nothing but a function only of the class, but it's a special function. It's a special function. It's special. And this special function, what is the role of this special function? To initialize. To initialize an object when? At the time of creation. To initialize an object means to give the property, to give the values to the data members or the properties or the attributes of the class, of the object, right? And there's a syntax, of course. So it has a different kind of a syntax. It's a function. I'm telling you it's a function, but the syntax is a little different than a usual function. Everyone knows the syntax of a function, right? You write the return type, the function name, and the parameters. This has slightly different syntax. Okay. Now, what is the difference? The difference is the constructor of a class has the name which is same as the class, the name of the constructor. So any class that you have, circle is a class. If I want to create a constructor of class circle, it's a function of the class, and the name of that constructor is the same as the class. Okay, so I want to create a function. So function will have parentheses, right? But the name of this function is the same as that of the class. Okay, and apart from this, it is not having name is same as the class, huh? Same as class. Apart from this, it is not having any return type. There is no return type. Okay. So depending on, there are different types of constructors, and there is a reason behind having these different types of constructors. Okay. I will just list down the types of constructors quickly. Okay. Then I will tell you what it means. Types. First is the default constructor. Next is the non-parameterized, that is no parameters. There are no parameters like this. There's no parameters, only open bracket, close bracket, open parenthesis, close parenthesis. That is non-parameterized constructor. Third is a parameterized constructor. Similar to functions, right? Similar to functions. These two terms similar to functions. And the fourth one is a copy constructor. Okay. Now we will look at each of these in detail, but I will just give you a flavor of each of these right now. What does this mean? Default constructor. In the programs that we wrote so far, we have not written any constructor as such, right? But there has to be something which will create that object. The object is created. You are writing circle C, C1, C2, whatever. You're writing that statement. So someone is creating that, reserving that memory. Who is doing that? The compiler. So the compiler is actually creating that object in memory. But what is the compiler doing? The compiler is itself creating a constructor. So the compiler creates a default constructor. It creates a constructor. But what is about the initialization of the data members? That responsibility it does not take. The compiler creates a default constructor at the time of declaration of that object if you do not have a constructor, and it is called. automatically by the compiler. So the compiler's job is to allocate memory for it, for this object that you're creating. But what is there in that object, that is not guaranteed. So it is random. Okay. So this constructor which is created by the compiler is called a default constructor. Okay. This is the default constructor. Then if you are creating constructors, then there are three types. So you are creating constructors in your class. Now you are becoming more and more smarter. You are providing constructors in the class itself. Then there are three types of constructors. These are the three types: non-parameterized, parameterized, copy constructor. Okay. What is the meaning of each of these? I will tell you right now. How to create them, I will tell in the next lecture. Okay. So let's say, suppose, let us take a real world analogy. Okay. Suppose you went to a shop and you say you want a pen. You tell the shopkeeper you want to buy a pen. Okay. You do not specify anything, whether I want I want it to be of this color, of this particular company brand. I do not specify. Then this pen, okay, you're not specifying anything, so what will be given to you? Whatever is the usual brand, and usually people buy blue color pens, so that will be given to you by the shopkeeper. Okay, yellow. So this pen, so what are you doing? You are buying an object. So this pen is an object. You have not specified anything. So whatever is specified, or whatever is given to you, that is whatever is available. So that is a non-parameterized constructor. So non-parameterized constructor is going to give some default values. You are going to specify some values which will be there by default. Maybe the pen that you are, in case of the pen, it is blue. So blue color pen of XYZ brand, some brand which is there, which is commonly bought by people, that the shopkeeper will give you. Okay. Next comes the concept of parameterized constructor. Now you change your request. You say that you want your pen to be of red color and of brand ABC. You tell the shopkeeper, I want to buy this pen of red color, this brand. Okay. Then what are you doing? You are specifying. You are specifying the exact details, the exact properties that you want in the pen. Okay. That means you need to have parameters through which you will specify. Yes or no? So that makes that is the concept of parameterized constructor. You're specifying. Okay, ye hona chahiye. Third type is copy constructor. Okay, copy constructor means you take your pen is your refill, your pen is not stopped working. Now you want to buy a new pen. You take your pen and you say, come to the shopkeeper, look, that this is the pen. Please, can you give me another pen of this type? You show the pen to the shopkeeper. Okay, shopkeeper will look at the pen and give you, look at the pen, the color, whatever, the brand, and give you the exact same pen that you asked for. So that's a copy of the pen. Okay. So that is nothing but a copy constructor. So we will look at each of these three constructor types in detail in the next lecture, how to define it, what is the syntax, and with an example, we will solve this, understand this concept. Okay. So that's all for today. I'll be putting up some practice problems also on Classroom. Please try to solve them. Please solve them. Don't ask for the solution directly. Solve them. If you're getting stuck, you can ask me. Then I will help you out. If you're getting stuck, I'll help you out. Okay?
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.